Picture this. I'm standing on the edge of a memory. The kind that feels so vivid you could almost reach out and touch it, like the brush of cool mountain air against your skin. I'm Jake, 29, a graphic designer from Denver, Colorado, where the city hums with life, but my heart's always been tethered to quieter moments. I've been married to Emily for 4 years. Now she's 28. A kindergarten teacher with a smile that could melt the iciest day. I can still hear her humming little tunes while she cooks, filling our small kitchen with warmth. She's the one who draws people in, the social spark in our duo. Always planning get-togethers while I'm content just watching her shine. I've got a tight-knit crew, 5 friends who've been my family since our college days. There's Ryan, the loudmouth with a knack for turning any moment into a stage for his quick wit. Always tossing out one-liners that stick. His girlfriend, Sarah, is the quiet counterbalance. An artist whose loyalty runs deeper than words. She's the kind of person who'd fight for you without hesitation. Then there's Mark, the rugged outdoorsman who dreamed up this whole adventure. Forever armed with some obscure survival hack, his younger sister, Lisa, is a photographer with a wild, untamed spirit, weaving stories through her lens and her words. And finally, Tom, the thinker. A writer who's been my sounding board through every high and low. The guy who gets me without needing to say much. This camping trip in the Rocky Mountains was supposed to be our escape. A chance to ditch the grind of daily life and just be. We all needed this break, a moment to reconnect with each other and the raw beauty of the world around us. As we rolled up to the campsite after a long, winding drive through the Rockies, I couldn't help but feel a rush of peace wash over me. The spot Mark picked was nothing short of breathtaking, a wide clearing, nestled among towering pines that stretched endlessly toward the sky. The ground beneath my boots was soft, blanketed with moss and a thick layer of pine needles that crunched faintly with every step. Nearby, a creek murmured its gentle song, the sound weaving through the stillness like a whisper. We pitched our 3 tents in a loose semicircle around a stone-ringed fire pit, the setup feeling like a little fortress against the vast wilderness. Beyond, the mountains loomed like silent guardians, their peaks still capped with late spring snow, catching the last glints of sunlight. I watched as everyone fell into their natural roles, the rhythm of our group clicking into place. Mark, ever the wilderness guru, crouched by the fire pit, striking his flint and steel with a practiced hand, sparks flying like tiny fireworks. Ryan, of course, couldn't resist poking at him, leaning over with a smirk and drawling, "Look at Mr. Bear Grylls over here, gonna save us all from the big bad forest." Mark just rolled his eyes, but I caught the faintest grin tugging at his lips. Meanwhile, Sarah and Lisa were over by the cooler, unpacking hot dogs and buns, their quiet chatter mixing with the rustle of wrappers. Sarah's hands moved with a careful precision, like she was painting a still life instead of setting up dinner. Lisa, on the other hand, kept pausing to point out angles for potential. I'm lying in my tent, the darkness pressing in around me like a heavy blanket, and I can't sleep no matter how exhausted I am. My sleeping bag feels like it's suffocating me, too hot, too tight, and the ground beneath is unyielding, digging into my back with every shift. I can hear the distant crackle of the fire outside, its glow long faded, and the muffled laughter of the group still lingers in the air. It's a sound that should comfort me, but instead, it grates on my nerves. I'm alone in here, and Emily's absence stings more than I want to admit. I thought she'd join me after the campfire stories wound down, but she stayed out there with the others, her voice blending into their chatter. Time drags on, and after what feels like an eternity, I finally hear the group breaking up. The crunch of pine needles underfoot echoes through the still night as footsteps scatter. I expect to hear someone heading my way, maybe Emily slipping in with a quiet apology, but the sounds don't come closer. Instead, they veer off, heading toward Mark and Lisa's larger tent, pitched just a short distance away. My brow furrows as I strain to listen. Low voices murmur, and then there's a giggle, high and familiar, unmistakably Emily's. My chest tightens as I hear the soft zip of a tent flap opening and closing, sealing them inside. Something gnaws at me, a restless itch I can't ignore. I sit up, my heart starting to thud in a way I can't explain. It's not just curiosity, it's a creeping dread, a whisper in the back of my mind I don't want to hear. I crawl to the mesh window of my tent, the cool night air brushing against my face as I peer into the shadows. A lantern flickers too. Life in Mark and Lisa's tent casting stark silhouettes against the thin fabric walls. I squint, trying to make sense of the shapes moving inside. There are too many figures for it to be just the two of them. My breath catches as I realize the whole group must be crammed in there. A private gathering, I wake to the faint chirping of birds piercing the early morning stillness, their songs weaving through the crisp mountain air. A subtle aroma of coffee, brewing over a rekindled fire, drifts into my tent, teasing my senses, but it does nothing to ease the pounding in my head. I barely slept, my mind replaying last night's haunting images over and over. My eyes feel gritty, swollen from the silent tears I shed in the dark, and as I lie here, tangled in my sleeping bag, I cling to a desperate hope that it was all just a twisted dream. But the ache in my chest, heavy and unrelenting, drags me. Back to reality, it happened. I saw what I saw, and there's no escaping it. Forcing myself to move, I unzip the tent with trembling hands and step outside. The morning air bites at my skin, sharp and cold, snapping me into a hollow kind of awareness. The group is already gathered around the fire, mugs in hand. There, faces bathed in the soft glow of dawn. They look so normal, as if nothing shattered last night. Emily catches my eye and offers a casual morning, "Babe," her voice light. But her smile is a thin mask, it doesn't touch the depths of her gaze. I nod, my throat tight, unable to form words. Ryan, sprawled on a log, tosses out a jab about me, sleeping in, his tone teasing as always. The others chuckle, the sound grating against my raw nerves, and I manage a weak grunt in response. I feel like a stranger among them, every glance, every word dripping with a suspicion I can't shake. Are they watching me? Do they know I saw? I sit on the edge of the circle, clutching a mug someone hands me, the heat burning my palms, but I barely notice. My mind is elsewhere, spiraling through questions I'm terrified to answer. Breakfast passes in a blur of forced small talk and clinking utensils. I can't stomach much, the food sitting like lead in my gut. I need to talk to Emily, to confront this before it festers any further. So, as the group starts clearing up, I catch her arm and gently pull her aside, away from the others. My heart's hammering as we walk a short distance toward the creek, the murmur of the water barely drowning out the noise in my head. I stop and turn to face her, searching her eyes for anything that might tell me I'm wrong about what I saw last night. But her face shifts the moment I open my mouth to ask. That casual, easy demeanor she's been wearing all morning slips away, replaced by something hard, defensive. Her arms cross over her chest, and she looks off toward the creek, avoiding my gaze. What do you think happened, Jake? You saw it, didn't you? Her voice is cold, almost mocking, and it slams into me like a fist to the gut. I feel the air rush out of me, my knees almost buckling under the weight of her words. I stammer, my voice barely above a whisper, begging her to explain. To tell me I've got it all wrong, that there's some other explanation for the shadows I saw dancing in that tent. But she cuts me off before I can even finish, her words sharp and unrelenting. I've been unhappy for months, Jake, maybe even years. I've wanted a divorce for a long time, but I didn't know how to say it. Last night, it wasn't planned, but it gave me the push I needed to finally end this. I felt free with them, in a way I haven't felt with you in ages. Each syllable is a dagger, twisting deeper into me. Free. That word echoes in my mind, burning like acid. She felt free in a moment that shattered my entire world, in a way she couldn't with me. Her husband, the man who's loved her through every high and low. I'm stunned, my voice cracking as I force out the question I dread most. Have you? Have you been with any of them before last night? My hands are trembling now, and I can barely look at her. She just shrugs, her expression indifferent, not even bothering to deny it. Does it matter now? I'm done pretending, Jake. I'm done. Every word that drive back home is a long, silent descent into a void I can't escape. I'm behind the wheel, my hands gripping it so tight my knuckles are pale as bone, the leather creaking under the pressure. In the rearview mirror, the Rockies shrink smaller and smaller, their jagged peaks fading into a gray haze, just like the life I thought I knew. Emily's words replay in my head on an endless loop, each one a fresh cut. I've been unhappy for months, maybe even years. I felt free with them. Every memory of us, her laughter in our kitchen, the way she'd curl into me on cold nights now feels like a lie, stained with doubt and betrayal. How long had she been planning to walk away? How could I have been so blind to the cracks in our foundation? Were there signs I missed? Little whispers of her discontent I ignored because I was too wrapped up in loving her. When I finally pull into Denver, the city feels colder, emptier, even though the streets buzz with the same old chaos. I step into our apartment, and the silence hits me like a physical blow, so heavy it's almost suffocating. Her presence lingers. Everywhere, her scarf draped over the couch, a faint trace of her lavender scent clinging to the fabric. Her coffee mug on the counter, a faint ring of brown still at the bottom. Each item is a reminder, slicing into me anew. I don't even bother unpacking my gear from the trip. I just collapse onto the bed, staring at the blank wall, the weight of it all pressing down on my chest. It's not just Emily. I've lost his everything. My friends, my chosen family, the people I trusted with every piece of myself, a tea shared. My dreams, my fears, my life with them, and now I'm utterly alone, a ghost in my own home. The next day, my phone buzzes with a text from her. My heart lurches for a split second, hoping for something, anything to soften the blow. But it's just cold, clinical words on a screen. She's staying with the group for the rest of the trip. And she moved in. Forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.